Good afternoon, good evening, good zinta, good y'all, whatever it may be where you are. I'm NotSportsCards. Hope you're doing well. Remember to like and subscribe. Today, what we're going to be talking about is a list of the best, most important Star Wars rookie cards from the Golden Era, which goes from 1977 through 1983. So it's going to cover the most important rookie cards from the first three sets. Again, this comes from the Council of Dorks Expert Star Wars Rookie Set. You can just go over to NotSportsCards.com, and there's my ugly face. And then, unfortunately, it's cut off here. But at the very top, there's a link to the Council of Dorks set, and you look at the whole thing. But I'm just going to quickly go through the first group here and talk about what made it, why it's there, a little bit about each card, and then we'll go from there. So, all right. I think there are about 15 cards. So, starting off at number one is the number one card. Let me just switch me to small mic. There's small mic. We got the Luke Skywalker, number one, the mother of all Star Wars card. What we do on the site is we'll just break down some facts about it. I have to admit that as I did more of this, the information gets better. It goes into some of the variants that you can get, how to look into, some of the grading stuff. But this is, widely considered the most important Star Wars rookie. It's the most expensive, having sold for, I think, $270,000 not so long ago. The pop report on this is only 9 10s and somewhere around 89 9s. And then you go down from there. So it's not a high pop card in high grade. There are absolutely zero for sale in 9s and 10s right now. You can find some 8s, but those prices keep kicking up. So that's the number one in the set. Let's see, number two. Number two is the Han Solo, the Space Pirate. There's a PSA 10 of that card. Han Solo is an interesting one here because a lot of people like the number 58, which is Harrison Ford as Han Solo standing up with his blaster in his hand, but this is considered the true rookie. It has sold for more than in the most recent auction. The PSA 10 of this card sold for $48,000, whereas the 58 sold for $18,000. It is a horizontal. It does say Space Pirate Han Solo versus just Han Solo. But, similar information here. I believe there are 11 PSA 10s of this. And there's a little over 100 PSA 9s. And, this is considered Han Solo's rookie. These are kind of easy ones. So the way we came up with this set is a group of Star Wars collectors who come at it from different eras and different styles. We all voted on this list trying to make the 50 most important Star Wars rookie cards, which is, I'm going to do basically 3 episodes doing all 50 cards. And then each year we vote on adding or subtracting cards as new characters come in. I think we're going to end up with 77 cards pretty darn soon. You got some sticker stuff in here, PSA, SGC. Fun facts, Han sits in a stacked top 10. Oh, I was just talking about the top 10 here. We have some great writers over at NotSportsCards.com, mainly me. Okay, what's next? I mean, some of these are easy, right? Like, who would have thought? Let me go through here. I don't even know if do I really need to click through every time? Princess Leia. Obviously, the number 5, Princess Leia, another one of the most valuable cards. It's that, naturally vertical character card. It's what makes this set so great. It's that kind of old school baseball card rookie style. It's a nice picture of Leia. PSA 10s, I believe there are 13 of this, about 140 in PSA 9s. I think the Leia sold for around 53,000 in a PSA 10, and PSA 9s are going for somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 now, or maybe a couple for sale. PSA 8s you can grab. They're a little bit all over the place. Anywhere from $250 to $500. PSA 7 will cost you about $100, but obviously that's subject to change. All right, next up. So these are a little more complicated. This one's not. So R2-D2, obviously R2 is the only character who's been in all 9 series, Saga movies. And this is the number 3, R2-D2, the little droid R2-D2. Great card. I forget what the PSA 10s, I think, is around 23 for this. And PSA 9s, I think, is a little over 100. PSA 10, I think, went for like 20-something thousand. PSA 9 you can get for under $1,000 right now. PSA 8, $200-300. The reason I said that it's a little controversial, this is obviously R2's rookie card. Some of these so far it's been like a slam dunk. This is the one where it gets a little more complicated. And does it get that complicated? So this is considered C-3PO's rookie card. Now this is the number 2 card in the set. So why would this be C-3PO's rookie card and not R2-D2's rookie card? I don't know. We're fickle people. Rules, are fungible, and they're meant to fit. So this is the first time that C-3PO appears, but again, it is pretty much, universally accepted. This is C-3PO's rookie, but not R2's rookie. Weird, I know. This card is the cheapest of, I think the first 8 cards in the set, which are all the big rookie cards. You can get a PSA 9 for this, somewhere in that $500 to $700 range. I think the PSA 10 went for $5,000-6,000. I don't remember. It's a weird card. I think it gets a little disrespected. I can say that C-3PO is the lowest selling character of any character other than the Goldenrod era. And the Goldenrod will not appear in here. Actually, when we first did this, there was we used the C-3PO from Series 2 because it was him by himself. Then we kind of just said we were being difficult, and we stuck with that. So that's that one. What's up next? Okay, again, not complicated. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Here we go. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the number 6. I forget how many Kenobis. I think there's about 17, 18 of these in PSA 10. Another card that really doesn't get the respect from the pricing range. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. How could he not be worth more? PSA 9, you can get this for in that $1,200 to $1,700 range. PSA 8s, $250 to $500. Yeah, again, I'm a big Alec Guinness fan. This is one of my favorite cards, but doesn't command the value. Here we go with the villainous Darth Vader, number 7. It's weird because, similar to the C-3PO R2-D2, Vader doesn't have a card alone. This is definitely considered his rookie card. This is the PSA 10 that I believe is owned by Steve Aoki that was purchased a few years ago. There are only 5 of these in PSA 10. And this one went for, I think, $55,000. I think if it sold today, it would go for at least 4 times as much as that. I mean, they just don't come up there. Obviously, being a Pop 5, it's one of the lowest in the entire series. PSA 9s are also hard to get. I think they're only in the 60s, and they're around somewhere right around 4,000. An 8 will run you 500 to 1,000, depending on the day or time. Yeah, I mean, again, great card. But Vader not having it to himself kind of makes it not worth as much money as I think it would be. Some of the cards in Series 3 and Series 4 command a lot of value, not quite this value, because they're just Vader by himself. All right, so Grand Moff Tarkin, sometimes, it's like, does Tarkin belong on this list? Tarkin's a very important character throughout all of Star Wars. It was a vote. I don't even remember if I voted for Tarkin or against him. He's an important character. This has a low PSA 10 pop. I think it's like 8. And I think it sold for over 20,000. Might have even been higher. I forget. Because I think there was a bidding war on this card. But you get a PSA 9 for, I would say, $500 to $700. PSA 8 will cost you, I think you can get a PSA 8 for $100 to $200. So again, Tarkin, important character, definitely became more important in things like Rogue One and in the animated shows, Rebels and Clone Wars. His story got more elaborate. So that's an easy one, right? Everybody, if you collect Star Wars, you know kind of those cards. This one's a little more complicated, and we've been discussing whether this will change. So what is Chewbacca's rookie card? So the vote was to not go with the Series 1 card, but this is Series 2, the red, and this is the Wookiee Chewbacca. And I don't know the PSA pop report off of here. As you get later in here, I actually included links to the PSA pop report, but there aren't many. The Series 2 are really hard to grade. This is the Wookiee Chewbacca. We call it the Wookiee rookie. There's been some consideration about why is C-3PO's rookie with R2-D2 okay, but why not use something like Han and Chewie shoot it out in Series 1? So I could see that switching. So this isn't as cut and dry. This is why we do the votes and where, we came from. So, okay. All right, now we move into Empire. Empire, it was, it's pretty kind of easy as to who we thought should get in here. Lando Calrissian, Billy D. Williams, number 8. These are the Starfile cards, which are also very hard to grade. I think there are 4 10s in this card. And they're probably like 69s, 60 to 79s. Affordable. I mean, you can't find the 10s, but 9s can be had if they're still out there for $100 to $200, I would think. Again, Lando, a very influential, important character who has appeared in different movies for times. And I think this was like another unanimous pick. Okay, here we go. So, see, as we went on, I did include the link to the pop report here, maybe. Let's see. There we go. And where's Lando Calrissian? Forgive me, I was sick. I got sick on Thanksgiving, being around too many people. Lando Calrissian, 3 10s, 56 9s, 78. So again, very low pop, and affordable, and something that you definitely get your hands on. All right, next one up, Boba Fett. Boba Fett, where? One of the more popular cards. Boba Fett was a character who I think was even more popular before he had more time in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. It was kind of like the less he said, the cooler he was. But he's still a really beloved character. Like I said, this is the Boba Fett is, I think, the most graded card in the Empire set. 934 from 10 10s, 139s. 255 and 8. A 9 will cost you probably around, really varies. It can be from 200 to 500. 10s, again, they just don't come up for sale. So, cool card, Boba Fett. Definitely something to look at. This is a card this is one of my favorite cards. I love Yoda. Yoda is, I think, wildly slept on. Somehow I ended up with a picture of a 3. That's pretty pathetic. Again, very hard to get in a high grade. Yoda, there are 4 10s, only 89 9s, 207 8s. So, it obviously can't really buy a 10. A 9 will cost you somewhere between 600 and 1,000. They'd come down a little bit, but they're, again, 89 of them. They're just not out there. So they're hard to find and are valuable. So one card that I've never owned in high grade, Yoda, and I really, few regrets when they came down that I didn't buy one. But c'est la vie. I have a few in 8 and 7 and such, and some O-Pee-Chees. But great card. Yeah, I mean, how can you deny that Yoda should be on this list? This is where it gets a little hinky when you get into Return of the Jedi. And I could say I expect some changes as we go forward. I don't think this one up next is really one that is debatable. The Emperor Palpatine. Wonder if we have the PSA pop report here. No, we do not. So weird that it was in that one, but not there. Return of the Jedi are very difficult to grade, so getting this in high grade. But the Emperor is a very important character. most people kind of just sleep on Return of the Jedi. It's the last movie. The Emperor has taken on a huge life after the original trilogy. Somehow Palpatine returns, of course, but he is ever present in kind of all of the Star Wars canon, almost, from, the prequels, the sequels, the animated stuff. So having Emperor Palpatine here seems like a no-brainer. Okay, up next, Jabba the Hutt. So this is Jabba the Hutt's rookie card. I don't even have a graded version here. Another one. I think there might be one PSA 10 Jabba. PSA 9s, they're a handful. But as I said, the Return of the Jedi, you can still buy a box. I just recently opened a box. I think I picked one up for like $200. I mean, they do usually run closer to $300. But the cards come out of the pack not in great shape. And so it's hard to get the high grade. So, I mean, if you get a 10 in this card, it could be quite valuable. PSA 9 still probably run you, I don't know, depending on the day of the week, $50, $100. So, very affordable. I will tell you that for Jabba, I think the number 13 card, either to the card right before or right after, is called Intergalactic Gangster. It's a picture of Jabba. It's my favorite title of a Star Wars card ever. And I kind of wish that it said Jabba the Hutt, Intergalactic Gangster, and that could have been his rookie card. But it's not. It's that one. So this is going to be the last card of this era. And this is much discussion. So Mon Mothma. Obviously, Mon Mothma was not a huge character in Return of the Jedi or the original trilogy. She played a role, but she wasn't that important, but has become much more important in, again, the animated shows and certainly in things like Andor. But it's like, well, this isn't Genevieve Riley. So is this the card that should be in it? These are the type of decisions in here. So I can tell you that she may end up, like, we will do things where there are two of the same character. They're, spoiling the future. But you can go look at this if you want on the website right now. Like, we'll do the animated version of Ahsoka and the live-action version of Ahsoka. Or we'll do Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan and Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan. So it's not impossible that she could be here twice. So, and this one is also, there are no PSA 10s of this card. PSA 9 will run you about 100, 150. But to give you an idea, there are other rookies in here. Like in Empire, there aren't really any other rookies that we like. I can't really tell you in 1977 what we left out, like who didn't make the cut. There really wasn't anybody. And in Empire, what are you going to put, an Ugnaught in there? So there really wasn't anybody who didn't make the cut. So in Return of the Jedi, Admiral Akbar didn't make the cut. That would probably be the first big kind of question, was Admiral Akbar. There are obviously characters like Sai Snoodles and, Jabba's band and stuff like that, but those weren't really in question. But Akbar was the first one where it was like, okay, he could be in. It's a trap, but he wasn't. So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. So you get an idea. The concept is to put together a list of the most important Star Wars rookie cards out there. The genesis of this was that when I started collecting Star Wars cards, I was doing this without knowing it, which was I always wanted to collect the rookie cards, and I had to figure out what they were. And then it was like, well, is this important or not? And then got together with other people, and we decided, okay, here's a list that we can show other people and see what they think of it. So I'd love to hear your opinions. Again, on the next episode, I will cover basically, I think, from 1984 through 2014. So that'll be the next era, and then we will do the final one after that. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know your comments. Like, subscribe. I'm NotSportsCards, and I am out.